Alright guys, welcome to Colaburia. Welcome to our student-based applications using the CLI command line interface. In this tutorial, we are going to build student-based applications wherein we will ask the user to enter some information from the keyboard. In our previous tutorial, we have shown you the basis of how to build student applications using two different classes, where we have the main class and a subclass. We show you how to declare some variables and how to build constructor. We also show you how to apply the getter and the setter. So in this tutorial, we are going to do the same thing here, but we will ask the user to enter some information from the keyboard. So before we continue with our program, let's have an overview of what we are going to build. So let's try to run this and see what we are coming to build now. Alright, here we go. So the menu will pop up like this. This is the menu. Alright, so the first thing here is this is about our student registrations, Vacation School Registration Center, and these are the options. The first one has to do with our registered student. The second one is to search for student informations. The third is to view all student informations, and the fourth is to exit. So these are the various choices you have. So let's try to apply the first choice to register student. So we enter 1 on our keyboard and we click enter. So it asks us for the student name. So we assume Tom Lee is the student name. The ID, we just put some random numbers and maybe some letter. Alright, here we go. The student major is the next one here. So let's say the student major is computer science. And the student GPA, the student last GPA, so let's say is 4.0. Okay, so here is asking for the courses the student is applying for or want to take. So let's say the student want to take math, physics, and language art, and we click enter. So English or language art, that's what the student is applying for. And the next thing is asking us for the student age. So we say the student is 30 years, we assume. The year for which the student is applying. So let's say 2020, yes, we assume. Okay, the department, computer science department. Okay, and the name of the student sponsor or the professor. So let's say James Tai. Alright, good. So after we have entered all of the information for the student, we have registered the student, and this works that you can register as many students as you want. So that's how the system works. If you enter 1 again, so here the option drop down. So if you enter 1 again, you can register another student, right? So the next thing we want to do now is to search for student. We apply the second option. So we press 2 on our keyboard and click enter. Good. So here it's asking us for the student ID we want to search for, because usually if we have to register about 5 to 6 students in the system, everyone ID is not the same. So since we want to search for a specific student, we need to search by the ID. So here we copy the student ID and we come down here and we paste it. We click enter. You see, so this is the student we register in the system. You see the student name, Tom Lee, the age, the ID, the GPA, the student courses applied for, the major, the year, and department, that of the professor name. So this can work as many times as you want. Once you register about 100 students, you can search by the ID number. So let's apply the third choice here, which has to do with view all student information. So we press 3 and automatically, you see, so we only have this student in the system, so that's why we view the student information. but if we have more than one student in the system, then we can see all of the information, right? So that is for the choice 3, and the 4 is to exit. So if you press 4, they say thank you, bye. So this is exactly what we are going to build today. So let's get started. The first thing we want to do is to create our empty Java project. So we come right here to the file and we click new, we click project, and the menu will pop up. Here we go. So if you have this compiler or this template, you can use it. So here we have Java is automatically on Java. What we do is we come here, we click next. Then if you want to create project from template is good, but in this tutorial it's not really necessary. So we will click next again. Now what we are to do now is to give the name of our project. So let's give the name of our project. We say student, or let's say student base, right? We click enter on our keyboard, or you can come here, you click the finish option. There we go. So here, if you're using this compiler, it will ask you, do you want this window or you want a new window? So we want a new window, and we click new. Here we go. So we have our empty project now. This is the empty project. What we need to do now is to come and create our class. So here we come and we click this. We click Java class and we give the name of our class. So let's say student informations or info, right? And we click. That is for our first class. The second class here is we come here, we take this and we copy this guy, we click this new rather, and we click this, we give our main class name. So let's say student main, and we click enter on our keyboard. So we have our main class and our subclass. So these are the two classes we need for this tutorial. So let's come to our main class here and we try to separate it. So let's say public static void main. Okay, so let this one be separated from our subclass. So before we move on with the main class, first we should declare all of our variable in the subclass. So let's try to apply that. Alright, so let's try to write some comment first. So we say declared can I say properties? So we declare our variables for our class. The first one is private string and we say m name. String we say m. Alright, I'll just go over it and declare all of the variables. Alright. Okay, here we go. So I've done declaring all of the variables that we need. So the next thing we want to do is to build our constructor for this variable that we declare and for our subclass. But before then, there are some things I said in our previous tutorial. So I will also go over it again. Usually whenever we see protected string and we see name, sometimes we have protected or int and we see age or some other thing. in Java programming language is like this is protected and private, almost the same. It's just like this one has to do with the package, that this can be accessed, the variable declare can be accessed within the package, and this one also like is the variable declare can be accessed within the class. Okay, so whenever you see protected and private, they are basically the same thing about declaring the variables, but one can be accessed within the package, and which is the protected, and the private can be accessed within the class of the variable declare, right? Okay, so let's try to take this guy from here. Now before we build our constructor, let's come here and write some comment. Constructor and parameter. So before we build our constructor and our parameter, the first thing we want to do is to show you some of the tactics you can apply using this compiler. So you can highlight all of these things, all of the variables you declare with the exception of the class. You highlight all of these things using this compiler of this or this interface. What you want to do is to click this and you come to generate. So here we can build our constructor using this compiler. We click this constructor, and all we need to do is to click Command A on our keyboard. If you're using Windows, you can press Control A and you highlight all of these things and you click OK. So with that, automatically the compiler will generate our constructor for us, and it will also create our parameter. So this is the constructor, and these informations that is in the constructor are called parameter. So here now we have our constructor and our parameter, and we also have the access variable within the parameter, right? So let's try to click this and we copy back. Usually if you're trying to use the compiler to generate this, like the variable declare will always like come down. Sometimes there are separations between them, so you always have to take it from there and bring it back. So the next thing you want to do is we click this again, we highlight it, and we come here again to the generate. So we can create the getter and the setter method using this. So we click this and Control A or Command A. If you're using Mac, you can press Command. If you're using Windows, you can press Control A, right? And we try to click this after we have highlighted. So you see our getter and our setter has been generated. Our getter and our setter has been generated. All we need to do now is to arrange it. So we will take this guy back from here and we bring it back here. Alright, here we go. So the last thing we want to create for this class or generate for this subclass is the toString method. So we also come here and click the toString method. So the toString method part is always automatically highlighted, and we click OK. So now we have our toString method. All you need to do now is to arrange it better within this class. So you see, so I will pause the tutorial here and arrange it better so you can see the format, and then we can move on. Okay, alright, here we go. So I finished with all of the things we need to straighten up. So usually if we use the compiler to generate these things, sometimes the compiler bring it the output in its own syntax. The compiler bring it in its own syntax, so sometimes you have to fix it better. So I've done like arranging it. So the first thing we did was to declare our variables, and after we declare our variable, we try to use the compiler to generate our constructor and our parameters. We also generated our getter and the setter, then we generated the toString method. So you can see it here. Like I said, you come and you highlight this and you click generate. You first generate the constructor. All you need to do is when you click this constructor, you try to highlight it and you click OK. That's for the constructor. You also apply the same thing. Come to the getter and the setter here. You try to highlight it and you press OK. then you apply it for the toString method. For the toString, you don't need to highlight. Once you click the toString method, it's automatically on it, just like this one, right? All you need to do is to click OK right here. Alright, so after we done, we try to arrange them so you can see. So I will go over it now. I will go over it so you can see the arrangement, everything. So these are the parameter, all of the informations in the constructor, and this is the constructor. The name of the constructor is the same thing as the name of the subclass, okay? So these are the informations we access from the constructor. And here we have the getter and the setter method. So you can see everything here, the getter, the setter, getter and setter, and so forth. So I'll scroll it over it so you can see everything clear. So the getter and the setter ends here, and if you notice that any of these things, probably you see like is gray, like it does not have the right color, just like purple. Every one of them has the purple color. So if one here does not have purple color, then that means it has not been used or it's not highlighted. So like now if we put a major, let's say course, so right now we move the S from there, so that means this is a new variable, it has not been used, so you have to straighten it up. Except you use it, then you can see like it turned purple, right? Good. So that's how you know that you have an oversight on something. Okay, so the next one we did was to build the toString method. This is the toString method, and here we try to return all of the variables or the data we declare. So here we try to return all of it, and this is the end of this subclass tutorial. So the next thing now we coming to do is to go back to our main class. So I will pause the tutorial here, and then in our next tutorial we will build our main class where we can run our program. Okay, so this is just the subclass we did, and we are coming to move to the main class. If you also need a source code for this tutorial, you can also comment in the sections below, or you try to email us. Thank you, and let's move to our next class where we can build